talk about the third tallest skyscraper in Chicago, just completed about a year ago, designed by a female architect. Her name is Jeannie Gang. Yes, indeed, Jeannie Gang is a big deal. She's from Illinois. She went to U of I. Yeah, ILL. Okay, she also attended Harvard, which I did not go to, so whatever, but U of I. The rejection letter just said no in big, bold font. I did not appreciate that from Harvard admissions. No, Jeannie Gang has won awards for her work. This building, the Saint Regis, stands 1,198 feet tall, 101 stories in height. It's 4 separate concrete buildings, all interlocking, interwoven. See the shadow lines you get on these contemporary buildings because they have those creases, seams, or folds? Look at the sky floating by seamlessly. Almost looks invisible sometimes. The building was inspired by the naturally forming crystals that occur in things like fluorite and sapphire. We all agree the building looks like a bunch of hourglasses, right? Those hourglass shapes are what engineers called frustums. The Saint Regis is a bunch of concrete frustums. High-end condos that are redefining what luxury means. Whatever that means, Brad. Boutique shopping and a high-end hotel. Now the structure has 6 different shades of glazing on the glass. Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. See the different colored glass? It actually accentuates the widening and thinning of the building. And then dig this, when they began to build the foundation for this building, they determined the foundation was smaller than what Jeannie Gang had called for. That resulted in the real-time slenderizing of her tower. I get emotional. Due to the building becoming slenderer than it was supposed to be, they had to sacrifice the 83rd and 84th floor. I kid you not, that is a first of its kind in Chicago, determined to be needed after the fact, blow-through floor. The blow-through floor allows high gusts of winds to infiltrate that cavity, thus reducing sway. But that's not all. The building also has on top of it what's called a tuned slosh damper. Tens of thousands of gallons of water in big concrete tanks on top of the building slosh about. As the building vibrates, that creates the inertia to shimmy the building back to a standstill. I look forward to meeting couples who have condos above the blow-through floor and beneath the tuned slosh damper to talk with them about how wind and water works in tandem to stabilize their life and how that's actually quite unsettling. This may sound crazy, but you're listening, you'll get it. Look beyond the Wheesian triangle. Please look beyond the Miesian box. See aqua, the curved, linear, undulating stone balconies. Each one is one-of-a-kind design to maximize the view. The building was built in 2009 by Jeannie Gang. The building is a tribute to the limestone outcroppings here in the Midwest. The award that Jeannie Gang won for Aqua was such that she was the only female architect on the planet who had ever built a building of that size who also owned her own architectural firm. By she building now the Saint Regis, she just outdid herself. She just set a new PB, and that means that we in Chicago, who are known for our architecture, have the 2 biggest things ever built by a woman in the world, and they are a block and a half away from each other in the Lakeshore East neighborhood. Having said all that, let's please hear it for our ladies here today. Very well done. That was way better than the 3:30 group. They just did all right with that. I was like, why do you all hate the gals? And the guys were like, talk about more boys. Yeah, right? Yeah, boo boys, yeah. Wait, were you booing boys or me? She's like, you! Oh, okay, well, that's the next building I'm doing, so. But I'll sell it to you in a way that it's fine. I know he's controversial, we don't do that here, but Trump Tower. Trump International Hotel and Tower was built in 2009 by Adrian Smith, the guy who did the Burj Khalifa in Dubai and the guy who built the NBC5 Tower. It's 92 stories in height, concrete covered in glass. Since it's from '09, it's got more of a textured facade, articulated glass and steel. I'll show you another building from '09 by a different person that has a familiar facade to Trump. But anywho, Adrian Smith designed this tower with Chicago's architecture in mind. Each one of the setbacks on the building is set at the height of a neighboring building. Something I hope that we can all, agree upon in terms of design, architecture, and the purposes of my narration. So he's referencing, Adrian Smith is, with this building, Wrigley Building, London Guarantee and Accident Building, and the IBM Building. The Wrigley Building is next. The IBM Building is later. We did the London Guarantee and Accident Building earlier. It's one of my favorites. That's where, again, Fort Dearborn used to be. Where Du Sable lived is Tribune Tower, and then now I want to show you the Wrigley. To the right-hand side and forward, we'll get your eyes out of the sun here, sorry. White glazed terracotta, Spanish inspired. This is Spanish revivalism from 1921 and 1924. There's a south tower and a north tower here at the Wrigley. I urge you to walk in between the 2 towers that comprise the Wrigley Building, and let's all please watch our heads at Michigan Avenue. Watch your heads here at this bridge from 1920. This bridge is modeled after Alexander III's bridge in Paris, France. Paris on the Prairie, our nickname. As we clear the bridge, friends, do please come back to the Wrigley. Here's a fun tidbit, take this home with you. There's 250,000 white glazed terracotta tiles on the facade of the Wrigley Building. Each terracotta tile has a number on the back of it. They are in a database. They are cleaned and or replaced over time. And friends, when you see the decorative base and the decorative cornice on these buildings, the Wrigley, the Tribune, when you see the London House, when you see the Jewelers Building, the base and cornice lines, that style is called the Chicago School. I know we're talking European-inspired buildings, yes indeed, French, Gothic, Italian, revivalism, but the base lines and cornice lines are specific to the city, the Chicago School. There's the articulated glass and steel of Trump Tower. You'll see how it very much began to reflect the sky and clouds, but notice that glass and steel, the texture there. We'll see this on a separate structure by a different person later. The mural to our left, I love it, you will too. It's 2 years old, it's massive. It's called the Radiance of Life. That mural, the Radiance of Life, is a 100-year celebration of Art Deco. And the third building the Trump Tower references is our beloved IBM building. And to the gentleman's inquiry earlier, yes, this one here is by Mies van der Rohe, the father of modern architecture. Less is more, form follows function. He used to say that God is in the details. The only texture on these buildings are the I-beams that run vertically. This building today is called the AMA Plaza. We all benefit from, and they do a great job, the American Medical Association. We still call it the IBM. It's the youngest building in Chicago to be declared a historic landmark, built in 1971. It was his last commercial building he built in America before he passed away. This is also his only building of the dozens he built in Chicago that is right smack dab here on the Chicago River. Even these guys here know we call it the IBM. Thanks y'all for holding it down, making sure everyone's calling it the right thing. We appreciate your efforts. And then dig this, I'll tell you, a student of Mies van der Rohe built these. Like, professor's like, yeah, we'll do modernism. And the student's like, nah fam, I'm doing this cause. A man named Bertrand Goldberg, who was indeed a student of Mies van der Rohe, loved nature, loved circles. This is Marina City Towers, AKA the Corncob Buildings. The Corncob Buildings are also known as the Flower Towers. They're also known as the Chicago Tree Houses. Some very nice boats in the Marina. People having dinner at Smith & Walensky's. No one's waving at me. That's how good the food is. These are used in all the movies in Chicago. These are said to be some of the world's most photographed buildings. You may remember in The Hunter with Steve McQueen when they drove a vehicle off the parking garage into the Chicago River. A city within a city, right? All the needs for residents are met on that floor. In the Marina, you all can rent boats. If you do rent a boat from Chicago Electric Boat Company, tell them to hire David as your guide. I will come down and I will boat with you. Low key, I work there. I have a hat. Am I even wearing that hat today? Oh mon dieu. Okay, yeah, cool. Good job, Dave. You know what you're doing. This building I love, and I believe you all will too. Left-hand side, look at this. It's a big, light, airy glass tower from the early 90s, cased in classical stone. You ready for this? That's 77 West Wacker. It's modeled after a single Greco-Roman column. The top of the building, look at that. A tip of the hat to the Parthenon in Athens, Greece. The other influence for this building, Giotto's Bell Tower in Florence, Italy. Look how lovely that like Beaux Arts revivalism is as they bring back the Greco-Roman vibe. 77 West Wacker is by a man named James DeStefano. He worked alongside a Spanish architect on that building named Ricardo Bofill. 77 West Wacker is worth your time later. Make sure you check that out. And then boom, we hit you with a warehouse made of brick from 1914. A man named George Nimmons built this warehouse. These ladies love it, clearly. This is a Prairie style warehouse, and by that I mean it hugs the earth. 3/4 the way up is a horizontal line of red brick and terracotta that makes the building kind of have that low profile vibe, and no one knows this but you folks on my tour. On top of the brick columns, see up there? The terracotta tiles they arranged? They look like grasses, grains, or wheats. You would see similar imagery like that as a stained glass window on a Prairie style or Frank Lloyd Wright home. George Nimmons built, I think, 13 warehouses in Chicago. The Reed Murdoch Center, one of my favorites. One of the few remaining. Good example of adaptive reuse. Thank you for that heart attack. I always got to kick the ticker. She thought I was doomed. I call this one here the Gothic Rocket. Or excuse me, no, that's from back yonder. My brain just had a fart, that's incredible. I call this one the Flash Drive Building. Folks, on the right is a building from 2009. 300 North LaSalle has the articulated glass and steel, not too dissimilar from what you saw on Trump Tower. Now, a man named Pickard Chilton built this building. It's from '09, flash drive building. As we all watch our heads here at Wells Street, I'll tell you why that's funny. In 2009, calling that building that made sense. Our documents and TPS reports were in thumb drives. Now, today we don't store our things in houses often.